And one moment in particular is going to give you chills. Let's start with the headline story, because it's honestly one of the best sports moments you'll hear all week. Edge rusher Ahmed Hassanein, a name Lions fans have been buzzing about all training camp, delivered on a promise he made to literally everyone around him, his wife, his coaches, and apparently God himself. On the very first defensive snap of the entire game, Hassanein looped around the line, beat his blocker clean, and dropped Cincinnati superstar quarterback Joe Burrow for a sack. Now here's where it gets wild. Hassanein revealed afterward that he had been telling his wife all week, over and over, "I'm going to sack Joe Burrow. I'm going to sack Joe Burrow." He said head coach Dan Campbell even brought it up in a team meeting, practically calling the shot before it happened. And when it actually came true, on the very first play of the game, full sacks, including a strip sack and 4 tackles, continuing an absolutely electric camp that's seen him transition into a new big end role for defensive coordinator Kelvin Shepard's scheme. If you're looking for a name to fall in love with this preseason, it's Ahmed Hassanein. Full stop. Now let's talk quarterbacks, because Detroit's rebuilt QB room got its first real test of the year, and the headliner was undrafted rookie Luke Altmaier. This kid, a Mississippi native who transferred from Ole Miss to Illinois, got the start after Teddy Bridgewater's shocking offseason retirement left a gaping hole behind Jared Goff. And listen, the box score wasn't pretty. Altmaier threw 2 interceptions and lost a moment with real poise. Altmaier admitted the biggest challenge of the entire night wasn't the playbook or the speed of the game. It was managing his own emotions. He talked about his heart racing before that first drive, about the nerves of stepping onto an NFL field for the first time in a Detroit Lions uniform, and about leaning on his faith, saying he spent a lot of time praying and relying on God to settle himself down. And once the football actually started, he said, it just became football again. Make the right read, throw it to the open guy, trust your preparation. Even after that heartbreaking pick that opened the game, deflecting off wide receiver Isaac Teasla's hands into the arms of a Bengals defender, Altmaier refused to sulk about it, calling it simply a bang-bang play against a good Cincinnati defense that's probably going to have a great year. That's a veteran mentality from a guy who's never played a single NFL snap before tonight. And when it mattered most, late in the fourth quarter with Detroit down and the clock bleeding away, Altmaier authored a gutsy touchdown drive and then ran the ball in himself for the 2-point conversion to make it a 2-point game. He called it a next play mentality, and if tonight is any indication, this kid has got real fight in him. As for that ugly fumble on the handoff with running back Jacob Salas, Altmaier didn't try to spin it or make excuses. He was blunt about it, saying it was simply a wet football that slipped right off his wet thumb in the first half. Nothing more, nothing less, and admitted flatly that it put his own defense in a tough spot. That kind of accountability, taking full ownership with zero excuses, is exactly what you want to hear from a young quarterback trying to win a backup job. Then there's rookie right tackle Blake Miller, Detroit's first-round investment up front, who made his own NFL debut protecting Altmaier's blind side for 33 snaps. Miller was refreshingly humble about the whole experience, saying he hadn't even watched the film yet and couldn't give himself a full grade, but that the entire night was about soaking in the confidence that comes from playing in a real NFL environment. He specifically credited his daily one-on-one practice representatives against superstar edge rusher Aiden Hutchinson as invaluable preparation, saying if something works against Hutchinson in practice, it's probably going to work against just about anybody else in the league. And when asked about Altmaier's performance, Miller lit up, talking about the personal relationship they've built and how proud he was watching his quarterback operate under pressure. That kind of camaraderie between Detroit's young core is exactly the culture Dan Campbell has been building since he arrived. And we can't forget about veteran journeyman quarterback Josh Dobbs, who got thrown into an absolutely wild situation. Signed off the street just days earlier after Bridgewater's sudden retirement, Dobbs admitted he had almost no time to actually learn Detroit's playbook before getting real game representatives. Locker room. New offensive coordinator Drew Petzing's system got rave reviews across the board. Both Altmaier and Dobbs specifically praised his clarity and communication, with Altmaier calling him one of the smartest offensive minds has ever been around and Dobbs highlighting how Petzing's crisp play calling helped him get comfortable in an unfamiliar system in an incredibly short window. When your quarterbacks are raving about the scheme after a loss, that tells you something real is being built here in Detroit. So look, the scoreboard says the Lions dropped their preseason opener 16-14. But scoreboards don't tell you about a grown man. They don't tell you about an undrafted rookie quarterback calmly navigating the nerves of his NFL debut through prayer and preparation. They don't tell you about a first-round tackle crediting his practice representatives against a superstar teammate for his confidence in a real game. That's the stuff that gets buried under final scores. And that's exactly why we bring you these breakdowns here on Detroit Scope. Let me know, for my money, Hassanin's manifestation story might be one of the best things I've heard out of Lions camp in years. If you're loving this kind of in-depth, behind-the-scenes Lions coverage, we are so close to hitting 1,000 subscribers here on Detroit Scope, and I need every single one of you to help us get there. Hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and let's go Lions!